What can the average American do in response to Roe v. Wade being overturned? This is a little bit of a long one, but the story is important. In 2011 in Virginia, Republicans swept statewide elections. They had the governor, lieutenant governor, both houses of the legislature, and they had appointed the majority of justices on the state Supreme Court. They immediately began trying to ban abortion. House Bill 1 was a fetal personhood bill, and there were about a dozen more ugly ones too. These bills were expected to sail through with no real hurdles. A grassroots movement sprung up. A core group of people who had met and networked during the Occupy protests began planning protest actions. They were able to attract support from people who were not your typical protest crowds, and throughout the actions a lot of suburban, older women drove into Richmond to participate. Over several protests about 24 people were arrested, and later acquitted. Protests were confronted by riot police as well as little green men hiding in the bushes with assault rifles. However, the protests largely remained peaceful. The state Democratic Party and organizations like Planned Parenthood and NARAL were literally calling the organizers and begging them to stop antagonizing the Republicans, but the organizers remained steadfast. In the end, we won. Most of the bad bills were defeated, and Republicans proceeded to lose every statewide election for the next 10 years. They ultimately lost both houses of the legislature as well, for the first time since the 90s. Bob Marshall, who authored HB 1, was defeated by Virginia's first openly transgender legislator, Danica Roem. So ultimately, here's what I would say to remember. The protests are important. What's more important is the networks that form at them. When you attend, try to meet people, have potlucks, get to know each other. You will come to rely on each other more than you think. Voting is important too, but only showing up to vote every 2 or 4 years and posting angry memes in between is not going to save us. Our institutions have repeatedly failed us despite more people voting in every election. We will be the ones to save ourselves.